Fine mood. Alright. Kanye West.
Yay.
Mr. West.
Yeezus.
The GOAT of hip hop, arguably. Not so arguably.
And so why not make a tier list out of it? We're fans, you're fans, and we all know that from one Kanye fan to another, the opinions you're about to see are absolute facts. No matter what we say, it's right and you know it.
Yeah,
You might disagree now, but deep down,
you know, we're better than you. College Dropout came out 2004. He actually released it for my birthday. He knew I was going to be born. And so this entire discography is dedicated to us, basically. So with that being said, this is a tier list. So we will have some varying opinions on things. So we're going to introduce our non-negotiables. We have one that we can use on any album to override the other person's opinion, just because there are some good albums on here. There's some really good albums. So there's that.
secondly, on the tier list, every tier list has its S tiers for the cream of the crop. But since you could argue almost any of these albums are the cream of the crop, S tier is limited to just 3. So we've got to come between each other and come down to just 3 to put in S tier.
Yeah. That being said, Kanye is on a different level. He is the level. He is himski. So this tier list is on a Kanye scale, whereas you see, S through C tier, maybe a D tier. If this is a normal music scale, all of his are like S and A tier. That's boring. We don't do boring. So on Kanye scale, S tier is gonna be 3, and A for Kanye is like S plus for a normal artist. Likewise, some normal artists, their C tier is like a Kanye F tier. Is that right? Maybe. Who knows? You're not listening. I'm speaking.
Yeah. Also, on the way, for fun, we'll be mentioning a favorite song off each album for more discourse, more disagreements, more things you can disagree on, but you're still wrong.
Yeah.
If you disagree.
You're always wrong. You're opinionated. And there's a reason that they're opinions and not facts. We speak facts. That being said, let's get into these ratings. The College Dropout. Personally, my favorite album, possibly all time, the skits, the music, what it meant for culture as a whole, when he dropped this album after being rejected from studio after studio, producer, he's making his own beats, fighting to get his own album put out. Nobody believed in him. And then he did it. And he did it dang good. You look at songs on here, you got All Falls Down, Spaceships, Slow Jams, Through the Wire. Man, you talking about an inspirational song right there? Woo! Woo! That's a song right there. That's a song right there. Family Business, my favorite song. I'll get that out of the way. It's a wholesome song right there. Love family. S tier for me.
The College Dropout, to me, those soul samples and that old Kanye style is classic. I will never get tired of listening to it. I think All Falls Down is a top 5 Kanye song and my personal favorite on the album. I listen to that so much. And it's just like, it's a banger album. It's a great debut, one of the best debuts out there. And, the impact. I mean, this was the start of Kanye West. This album's as old as I am.
Yeah.
And there's still, us two listening to it.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I'd put this at a hard A, but I definitely budge.
I have to give it an S. I could not go to sleep at night. I could not sleep at night with knowing that this was anything less than S. So I will use my non-negotiable. I'll get it out there. I'll get it out of the way because that album, magic.
All right, well, next we got Late Registration, my personal favorite. I think this album takes what was so good about The College Dropout and makes it better. Me personally, I think the samples are incredible. There's not a skip on this album. Every song is good. The skits aren't as good. I'll give the College Dropout that. It has the best skits. I kind of miss when he did skits.
Yeah.
But Late Registration, like you got Hey Mama, you got Roses, you got We Major, you got Touch the Sky. I also think this album has the best features out of the entire discography. I think Lupe Fiasco, the Jay-Z feature on Diamonds from Sierra Leone. You got the Nas on We Major. So for all those reasons, I think it's a definite S tier. I'm giving best song to We Major.
Okay. See, this is where I disagree. I personally don't find myself returning to Late Registration a lot. For the whole album. That being said, there's a lot of really good songs on this album, but it's also a lengthy album slightly. There's a couple songs on there that I think I've maybe listened to twice. But I can respect it. I mean, the whole College trilogy as a whole is just amazing. I mean, you look at like a song like Roses, it's so good. And the skits, while they aren't as good, I think, as the College Dropout, you do have skit number 4 with the famous "There's an Imposter Among Us." I don't know how he knew that it was going to happen.
He's a visionary.
He's a visionary. He's a disciple, if you will. But personally, I just have to give Late Registration a B tier, only for the sheer fact that I don't return to the album as a whole a lot.
Well, me personally, I could not live with myself seeing Late Registration in B tier. I'd probably look back on this video and want it deleted because in the beginning I said we were speaking facts, and if Late Registration's in B tier, that's just not a fact. So I'll use my non-negotiable Late Registration as an S tier album.
There are no non-negotiables left. Two albums in. 2 albums in.
What can I say?
So, whatever discord that we have among us is going to be very interesting.
I'm not saying he peaked in the beginning, but
now we have Graduation. This album, man, you talk about just a fun album. I mean, it is just a good listen. You feel, sort of like this ultimate ending for the College trilogy and Kanye as an artist, where it's almost celebratory in its songs. I mean, you got songs like Good Life, Homecoming. I mean, that, dude, oh, wow, that's a song right there. It's one of the most catchiest instrumentals that I've ever listened to in my life. Man, I mean, like, come on. And then guy from Coldplay, I forgot his name, Chris something, but that is an S tier album for me. Homecoming is easily my favorite song on there. I could give up some room for like Flashing Lights, because that's a good one. What's the other one? I don't remember the other one I'm thinking of, but there's another one on there that I just love.
I mean, when it comes to Graduation, I think this album, there's a song for every mood you could possibly have. There's I Wonder.
That's what it is.
There's Stronger.
Yeah.
There's, Homecoming, Can't Tell Me Nothing. You got Good Life. Big Brother's a great song.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Like, that album is, you got Champion.
Yeah, like there's no skips.
Yeah, the samples are incredible. The song's just good. My personal favorite is Good Life. But honestly, my favorite album on this, or my favorite song on this album changes all the time, just where I am. And right now I'm in a real Good Life mood.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite. But I mean, man, Graduation, I can't disagree. It's an S tier.
It's like you have a song for every, like you can listen to any song on there, depending on what mood you're in. I mean, I'll listen to I Wonder a lot. It's one of those like night driving, self-reflection, very
Absolutely.
inward thoughts.
Life-changing stuff.
It'll change your life. It does change your life when you listen to it. If you haven't listened to it, or even a real Kanye fan, or even real as a person.
Honestly, I Wonder is way too underappreciated.
Yeah, like that song doesn't get talked about enough. Like those vibes.
But that also means we've used all our S tiers.
Yeah, there is no more S tier. His first 3 albums, the best. It's sad he doesn't perform anymore.
Yeah.
It's sad what happened to him in general. Awkward, but life happens.
But hey, we're not talking about Kanye the Kanye.
Yeah, we're not talking about Ye. He's still Kanye during this phase.
Yeah.
This is still Kanye.
This is still the pink polo.
Yeah.
Pink polo and backpack.
Pink polo, fresh out of the hospital, big jaw Kanye. Pre-Taylor Swift, if you will.
808s and Heartbreak. So I think this album, I maybe underrated a little bit. You know, I kind of thought, you know, like it has Heartless, but like what else is on there? It's kind of how I felt about this one. But on the re-listen, I had an appreciation. You know, most of the songs are fun. Heartless, of course, is great. You got Love Lockdown.
Yeah.
That one's fun.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What's the one with Kid Cudi in it?
Welcome
to Heartbreak.
Yeah.
That one's fun. Personally, my favorite is Paranoid, and I've loved Paranoid since listening to this album. I've always been like, Paranoid's on this and Heartless is on this. Yeah. I love Paranoid so much. I think it's a top 5 Kanye song. Okay. I listen to it all the time.
Wow.
But I don't think that makes 808s and Heartbreaks as a collective, like, you know, legendary. I say for Kanye's discog, it's like a middle B tier.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the middle B tier rating. My thing with 808s, it's just not my style of music that I like particularly. I can appreciate it for what it did for the music industry. After, you know, 808s release, you see kind of the birth of very like Lil Jon-esque and Ludacris style, you know, auto-tune, and, you know, Travis Scott obviously has some influences in there from when he listened to it. I'm assuming he listened to it. It's Travis Scott.
Kid Cudi also getting started around the time.
Yeah, Kid Cudi was also getting brought up around this. So definitely it's a solid album. I mean, I don't ever come back to it again. Kind of the same thing with Late Registration. My favorite song personally is Streetlights, which is ironic because it's not even my favorite version of Streetlights. Daniel Caesar's version is much better, incredibly better. He took everything that was good about the song and basically tripled it. Shout out Daniel Caesar. Surely he's not problematic. But yeah, I would definitely give 808s like a mid B tier for Kanye as an artist as a whole. I just don't really care for it that much. That being said, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You talk about an album that comes out of left field. You know, this came out right after the whole, what's the music award show?
The Grammys?
The Grammys, yeah. This is right after the whole Taylor Swift incident. And wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish.
He caught some flack for a long time after this. I mean, even Obama was calling him crazy after this. And then he turns around and proceeds to drop an album that normally, you know, 6 months ago I would have called it S tier. After returning to it a little bit, it's still a great album in my opinion. I listened to a lot of songs off this album. Songs like Lost in the World, I just really like Bon Iver. That's Bon Iver. I know you're watching this. Great work, dude.
Good to know there's more Lost in the World fans.
Yeah.
That song is so good.
That song is so slept on. And you look at Monster. Jay-Z's verse was really weak, in my opinion. That was a goofy verse. But Nicki Minaj
kills it.
Arguably her best feature ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, I was a barb. I was on that. I was on the Nicki Minaj train for a little bit. This album to me is a hard A tier, just because, again, like this one in my opinion has the best features. Rick Ross kills it. Bon Iver kills it. I think Mos Def is on this. Isn't Chris Rock on what song is that? I think Chris Rock is on it.
Pusha T's on here too.
Yeah, Pusha T. I mean, like, it's just good music. Good music. Runaway.
Mm.
Oh my god. Yeah, hard A.
So for me, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I was also underrating this for a while. You know, I was like, you know, it's good, but like, you know, Power and All the Lights, those are great songs, but I've heard them too much. I've heard them too much.
Absolutely.
I'm a little over it.
Absolutely.
But on this re-listen, you know, Dark Fantasy's still in there. So Appalled's a fun album. You know, if God had an iPod, I'd be on his playlist.
Yeah, like, what? Who says that? Kanye does, and he's right.
You had Runaway on there, best song of the album, if you ask me. Beautiful song. Monsters on there, which is legendary, and for some reason, like, people talk about it all the time, but they don't talk about it enough still.
Yeah, like, what's the respect?
Lost in the World. My only dig at this album is I feel like sometimes it's a bit too samey.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs sound really similar, and a lot of them are like 6 to 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
But it's great production. It sounds great.
Yeah, I mean,
But for that reason, I've never S tiered it. But personally, on the re-listen, A tier, easy A tier.
That's an album. That's a good. I think that's probably his best starter album for Kanye, because you know he has some of his corny stuff in there, but you also just get some really good moments. I mean, like that's a good album.
And everyone's heard Power, and everyone's heard All the Lights. I mean,
and those aren't even like, I don't even put those in like the top 3 or 4 on the album.
And I mean, you know, they're bangers. When Rihanna played it at the Super Bowl, when Rihanna played All the Lights, I freaked out.
I thought Kanye was coming out.
Me too. I went crazy.
From the skies, from the heavens. Oh, I was so excited. Then I got let down. Super Smash Bros. Stage. Anyways, Watch Your Throne Deluxe.
This is rough.
Mid.
It's very mid.
Very
in a word, mid. Like, you get 3 songs deep and you've heard the album.
Yeah, like it's very stale. There's not really any change in their sound or their style. I mean, you know, of course Kanye and Jay-Z go way back, but it's just boring.
That's why it should have been more, though.
Yeah.
They go way back and it should have been more. It really wasn't. And it kind of suffers from the problem of everything sounding samey and being too long in My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but it never really recovers from it.
Nope.
So, honestly, like, D tier?
Yeah, like I put this like C or D tier. I honestly agree with D tier. It's just not very good. It's very lackluster for a Kanye.
I think it's the second worst album. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean it's just nothing crazy. Very mid. Very disappointing Kanye. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, best song, Otis, I guess.
I have to go for Paris.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, it's just certified bar classic, certified hood classic,
Yeah.
certified meme classic. I mean, who was in Paris? Who was in Paris?
And then in another kind of mid-era, we get Good Music, Cruel Summer.
Yeah.
If you include this one, you know, some people don't. Personally, we included it. But I mean, I thought it was at least more unique than Watch the Throne.
Yeah.
And at least, you know, it sometimes escaped from being so samey. Best song, I mean, Don't Like's pretty classic, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's Big Sean definitely helped a lot on this album. So like avoid the samenism on some songs, but yeah, I mean, again, very mid. I'd probably give it C tier.
I give it C tier.
Just because, you know, whatever.
Just right above Watch the Throne.
Yeah, Don't Like. That's a good gym. That's a good gym song.
Great gym song.
Also Mercy. I think Mercy's on this album.
It is.
I mean, that's a classic. That was a good old Musically one back in the day for my Musically kids. I made one of that. Don't tweet. Oh, it's him. Back to like the actual albums now.
Yeah.
Yeezus. Woo. A change. That's another big change for Kanye.
It's villain music.
It is. This is like Black Air Force energy personified. This is hater music.
Absolutely.
His just a very harsh and angry sound for most of the album. I mean, you have a classic with Bound 2. I mean, that's probably in my top 10 Kanye songs, and
Absolutely.
I think I've heard it a little bit too much recently just to kind of have the same love. But then you have songs like Blood on the Leaves. That's probably my favorite from the album.
It's just so harsh and bombastic.
And the Black Skinhead, like all these songs just make you want to fight and make you angry.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd give it either a high B or low A though. I mean, I do like the album, don't get me wrong, but I can't listen to it as much as the other album because of how angry it is.
For me personally, alright, so Yeezus was like the second Kanye album I listened to. So starting this with On Sight and just like the loud robot noises, you know, it was a little bit of a shock coming from, I think I listened to Graduation first.
Yeah.
But over time, I've come back to Yeezus so much. Like, it's short, it's only like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
There's not a lot there, but I think there's really like maybe skip Send It Up and Skip I'm In It. But other than that, I'll listen to everything else. I have no problem listening to the album all the way through.
Yeah,
I think all of these are just so good. Like, I Am a God is like
that's a song.
That's a real, I'm gonna, like you just want to fight something. It's like the energy on this album is so good. It gets the energy up. My personal favorite, I'd have to go with either Bound 2, just because like it's such a good break to come at the very end, and it's still got the part in the middle that's very Yeezus sounding.
Yeah.
But it's either Bound to or Hold My Liquor. Personally, it's my second favorite Kanye album.
Okay.
So I'd S tier it, but our S tier is full, so I'll compromise to like low A.
I can settle for A. Definitely the Kanye villain arc. I guess you could say it's really in his villain arc right now, maybe. I don't know.
Villain arc part 2.
Yeah, kind of a resurgence of the villain arc, but I'll settle for A tier on that. Probably low A tier, but we'll see. Life of Pablo. 2016. What a year. What a year. Favorite year ever, even maybe, some would say.
It was kind of a great year.
That would, like, I mean, I was in 6th grade. That makes you realize how young I am. I was in middle school when this album came out. I was actually on the way back from a spotlight trip for the advanced kids from New Orleans. We went to go see the World War II Museum. And this dropped while we were on the bus on the way back. And I remember putting my headphones in and popping in Ultralight Beam. Wow. I mean, like, dang, dude. Like, that song was just, that was probably my favorite Kanye song for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Chance the Rapper, one of my favorite artists, shame that he fell off. Real bozo of him. But this album has a lot of really good moments. You know, you have songs like Famous with their obvious, you know, meanings and whatnot. You got Father Stretch My Hands Part 1. That song carries some energy with it.
Mm-hmm. Just too short.
Too short. It's so short. I would feel guilty giving this album anything other than an A tier.
Mm-hmm.
Another really good one with features, but just a good album.
So I also listened to this one in middle school, and you know, I'm kind of getting those memories back. I listened to it on the bus on the way home from middle school. Was certainly an experience. I was also a big Ultralight Beam fan. The Chance the Rapper verse is so good. Just and like just the energy in that song, like it makes me feel holy.
Yeah,
listening to it.
I want to praise Jesus.
But you know, other than that, the album, you got No More Parties in LA, where you get a Kendrick Lamar feature, which was so great. You got Famous. You've got Father Stretch My Hands. You've got St. Pablo at the very end coming through with such a hard beat. Personally, I'd pick Waves as my favorite song.
Waves don't die.
Because I just want to sing along. I just want to get the energy. The beat is so good. The sample's so good.
Yeah.
Love Waves. For me personally, The Life of Pablo is my 4th favorite Kanye album. I'd put it at a high A tier.
Okay. I think my favorite thing about this album is when it dropped, we didn't know about any of the features. I mean, they were not listed. So, especially when Kendrick came in, like, that was so hype. That was just another level of just like excitement, and we'll see this later with Donda for me. But what's next? Yay! Ooh. Big change. I mean,
isn't it?
Really big change.
Yeah.
This is what, 2 years later, I think.
2018.
2018. 8th grade, still in middle school. Wow.
Dude.
That's crazy. But if you watched Genius, and if you haven't watched Genius, again, are you real? Are you a Kanye fan?
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Like, why are you watching this? Like, leave, dude.
Go watch Genius and then come back.
Go watch Genius. Like, pause the video, go watch Genius, come back, play Raid Shadow Legends. Please sponsor us. Please. This is a beautiful album. I mean, as far as just like Kanye exposing himself in songs like Violent Crimes, where he like addresses the ideals of men being creepy, and like he acknowledges the fact that he was, you know, a group of those men that, you know, preyed on women and did all these horrible things and had these awful thoughts, and being kind of someone as high as he was in the music industry to admit that and expose all of these people to these ideas, like, revolutionary. It started the whole, at least for me, social media kind of finally started talking about men's mental health, which I think was really underrepresented. And, you know, he traveled to all across the world to like find himself and stuff like that whenever he was creating this album. And you can really tell that this is where he starts his like his Jesus phase and his happy Kanye era, and it was really good for him. However, I don't return to the album a whole lot. I respect the album. I respect everything that it meant for Kanye. I respect everything that it meant for music as a whole. I come back to two songs. I come back to Violent Crimes, and sometimes I listen to I Thought About Killing You just because it's a funny song. But
Premeditated murder.
Premeditated. I Thought About Killing You. This one's gonna have to be like a B tier for me. Album cover's great, by the way. I hate being bipolar. It's awesome.
You know, Ye, it is such a beautiful thing because it's a real just like offloading of a lot of his things on his conscience, and I think it makes it so interesting to listen to. You know, I think there's a lot of great songs on here. Personally, I like them all. You know, there's All Mine, you got Yikes, you got Wouldn't Leave, Ghost Town, Violent Crime. Personally, I pick Ghost Town as my favorite. I think that song's so beautiful. Just like when you're in the zone and just listening to it, it's great.
Yeah.
Unmatched.
Good energy.
You know, but it is a little short, and like while the songs are all great, they're not like massive standouts.
Yeah.
So, you know, Ye, it's fun to throw on, but it's not one that stands out super hard. You know. But it's definitely memorable. The album cover is really good. I'd give it a B tier.
Solid.
Probably right above 808s.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh. Shout out Woke Kanye. Shout out Jesus.
Kids See Ghosts. So, me personally, I'm a big Kid Cudi fan. So, Kids See Ghosts is, you know, it's a beautiful thing that exists. I have a poster of this album in my dorm room.
Really good album.
Album cover's great. You know, it's good. It's not like me personally, I don't feel like it's like a groundbreaking project, but like just the energy's good, and I feel like it kind of escapes at least a little bit from the problems of the last collab album with Watch the Throne.
Yes, definitely.
Where it kind of escapes being too samey. You know, you got Reborn, which is more of a Kid Cudi sounding song. You got Free, Ghost Town Part 2, which is my personal favorite, because it kind of carries on that Ghost Town energy, but it's different enough for me to still like it a lot. You got Fourth Dimension.
Fourth Dimension's my favorite.
And the sample on that is so good. But quality project, I think it goes right at B tier still, but still great.
I definitely agree with the B tier, which reiterates the point that these are facts.
Mm-hmm.
These are facts, people. This is all facts.
All facts.
I definitely appreciate. This is his best collab album, in my opinion. Kid Cudi does wonders. I think he brings out the best in Kanye artistically.
I agree.
Again, this album is kind of emphasizing the whole mental health thing. They traveled to Japan to help make this album. I mean, like, come on. Dude, where my weebs at? Shout out my weebs. Naruto. You know me. But that being said, again, same thing as Ye. I don't really return to this album a whole lot. I really appreciate it. Don't get it twisted. Like I'm with it. I love it. I love this album. I think it's beautiful. Ghost Town Part 2, love that song. Fourth Dimension is probably my favorite from this album. But again, those rank overall as songs pretty low for my Kanye discography as a whole. So I'd probably give it a B tier. I don't know if I would put it above or below Ye, but they're basically neck and neck. They're the same album to me.
Pretty much.
Then you have Jesus King. I think this album deserves its own tier.
Yeah.
Because objectively, or we'll start subjectively first. For Kanye, this album is trash.
Yeah.
This album is trash. This album is garbage. However, your favorite artist, this is in their top 3 albums though, because it's Kanye.
Yeah.
It's Kanye. I mean, come on. So shout out Jesus again, dude. It's my guy.
Yeah.
And Closed on Sunday.
You My Chick-fil-A.
You My Chick-fil-A. I know you love Chick-fil-A. I know you love Chick-fil-A. Imagine loving someone so much that you love them the same as Chick-fil-A.
That's real love.
That is true love. I can only ever hope to find that. But I think Jesus King should get his own tier, just because.
It could have been Yandi.
It could have been Yandi.
And if it was Yandi, I'd probably be losing my mind right now about how good it is.
Yeah.
But it's Jesus is King, and like it's only 20 minutes long. Like
Yeah.
people waited so
What?
long for this. It's 20 minutes long.
Like, dude.
Most of the songs have good beats, but they're like a minute 30.
Yeah.
So you don't really get to enjoy them. Personally, I think Water is my favorite song,
Okay.
just because it's it sounds beautiful. But like I just don't see myself like Use This Gospel's good.
Jesus
and,
Gospel is really good.
What's the one at the beginning about his dad?
I don't even remember. So I've listened to this album twice.
Yeah, I've listened to it twice ever. I listened to it once when it came out, and then once again for this video,
Yeah.
and it's just not memorable.
There's nothing good about it.
I'm sorry.
I lied. My favorite song is Jesus Gospel. Kenny G, man, what a guy. That saxophone, beautiful. That's some real sax skills.
Donda.
Man.
Donda is a package. This whole rollout was insane.
I mean, wow.
You had the man doing these listening parties all across America. You had it's gonna release now, and now it's gonna release
6
a
months
month later, and then another month later, and then 6 months later. I was convinced it was never coming out.
I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought we were going to bait it the whole time.
I especially thought we weren't gonna get it when he like locked himself in the Atlanta Falcons locker room. It was like, I'm gonna stay here until I finish the album. I was like, he's never coming out.
He's living there for the rest of his life. I thought he was going to retire in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Like, wow. I mean, it just all reminds me of quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this whole album for me was just quarantine era stuff and really good memories associated with this one.
And going into this, I was ready to fight for Donda, right? I was so ready to fight for Donda, but on the re-listen, I think I kind of there's too much.
There's a lot.
This is the longest album. We go from Jesus is King which is 20 minutes long, to Donda. If you listen to the deluxe, it's 2 hours long.
That's a movie. That's longer
That's
than
a
movie.
whole movie. And a lot of the songs on here are, you have song like Jesus Lord, and then you have Jesus Lord Part 2, and they're barely different.
Yeah.
And so there's just not a lot of reason for the album to be so long. You should have just cut one part or the other. There's still great songs. You got Jail. You got, Off the Grid was huge. That one blew up off the album. You've got Remote Control.
God.
I mean, Remote Control Part 2 puts Kid Cudi on there.
Yeah.
Like,
out of nowhere. That was really hype when that first came out.
You got Life of the Party with Andre 3000.
Nah, that was a good feature.
Andre 3000 doesn't have bad features.
Ever.
So you got Junior.
Yeah.
With
Junior
Cardi.
Watanabe.
So I mean, there's great songs, but my only problem is A, its album's way too long. B, here again, the songs sound a little bit too similar to one another. A lot of the beats are super similar, not a lot going on.
I agree.
So personally, for my favorite song, I'd pick Off the Grid just because it's the most different sounding. But other than that, I'd probably go with like Jail.
Okay.
Or Remote Control Part 2.
Okay. What are the tier list right?
Honestly, B tier. I think it's B tier, like above 808s.
Okay.
Maybe below Ye, just because Ye's short and sweet.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I personally, if anywhere, I'd have to put it top of B tier. Maybe below, maybe behind Ye, but like second on B tier. Just because I just had so many good times. Like that whole era when he was teasing us with the album and then it finally dropped. Like that was just so fun.
That was a
And
crazy.
me and my friends, we were just all so hyped for it. I mean, it was insane. And I do think there's a lot of really good moments on this album. It had the same thing with Life of Pablo, where he didn't tell you the features on it. Really, they didn't like put the actual names on it until a couple days later on Spotify. And so, I remember listening to like Jail the first time, and just hearing like The Weeknd and stuff like that.
You got Praise God, where Baby
Praise
Keem's
God.
there.
Yeah, like out of nowhere, you got Travis Scott on there. I mean, with the deluxe, you have Andre 3000. There is some really good stuff on this album. My favorite, personally, is probably Heaven or Hell. That beat drop on there.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like the Life of Pablo and Yeezus era.
There are
almost.
some like Life of Pablo, Yeezus era sounding, like God Breathe.
Yeah, like there's some aggressive moments on there,
Mhm.
and I think metaphorically or symbolically, or however you want to look at it. It's very kind of paying homage to your faith and stuff like that. You can get into what it means to like be a Christian and like love and do all these things, and you have good and bad moments, and I think he reflects these good and bad moments with the sounds in this song. I mean, it's just a good album. I couldn't put it anywhere below like top 2 for B tier.
I think if you cut the fluff, this is an easy A.
Yeah.
But with all the fluff in there, it drags down the experience because you kind of just get to a moment where you're waiting for one song to end, so you can get to the songs you like.
Yeah, definitely.
And so there's a lot of good songs. You could probably come up with 10 great songs off this album and then make that its own album, and it's like A tier.
Yeah, easily.
But the way it is, Donda's a B tier.
That's fair.
But you know, there's hope for the future if he ever drops something again.
Yeah, I'm expecting him to come back with a really good album. That might just be me though. I don't know. He's been on
maybe
something.
we're coping.
Maybe it's copism. I don't want to see him go out like the way he is right now. I'm hoping he gets better. Shout out Kanye in a non-problematic way. I hope you get better. I hope you get the help.
If you're watching this, Kanye, drop the album.
Drop
or
the
finish
album.
Donda 2.
Yeah. Where's that at?
What are you doing?
Come on, dude. Get better. Do better. Why am I being nice? Do better. So, this is our tier list. Kanye.
A completely objective and right tier list.
This is facts. Again, this was destined to happen since 2004. Coming at you. Best Gen Zers, biggest Kanye fans ever. Adios.